Welcome back to my channel. I got myself a new mic, so hopefully I sound way better than in the previous video. I recorded myself on my iPhone because it tried out every mic in my household and iPhone sounded the best, which was not very good at all, so hopefully from now on it sounds way better. And I got this mic from Facebook Marketplace for a third of a price, so it's a win-win. I'm so proud of myself. I love Facebook Marketplace. If you still prefer videos without any voiceovers, I have a version of this video with just subtitles, so feel free to switch, because I know a lot of people prefer ASMR kind of nail content, and I don't think my voice is ASMR worthy at all, so I won't be offended if you do. In today's video, I'm doing my nails inspired by Furina from Genshin Impact, and I already prepared the tips before I started the video. I filed them and stuff, and the video begins with me putting them on the nail stands, and then I use alcohol to get rid of any of the debris from filing. I use a nail primer to etch the surface so the base sticks better and it doesn't come off, because let me tell you, it happened to me once. Now I always prep my nails properly. And then I used some builder gel to build up a little bit of the structure because the nail tips are very flat. And I prefer the nails to be a little bit more sturdy. And what I am doing here is I'm using a whole bunch of molds to make custom nail parts. I usually just use a mix of the top gel and some kind of colored gel. The mixture doesn't need to be very opaque because it's going to be very thick layer of it, and if it's very opaque it's not going to dry properly, so I make it very jelly-like. And I still cure it in about 3 or maybe even 4 layers because this charm is really thick. And here I'm making a second bow. By the way, this palette I'm using, I love it so much. I just bought it from Taobao for maybe $3. It was an empty watercolor palette. And I depotted some of my stamping gels, which didn't work for stamping very well, and I just use it to mix up my custom gel colors. It's very convenient. And the best part is that if I have some gel leftovers, I used to have to throw them away if I mixed it on the palette, but here I can just keep them. And here I finished making the bows, and I cut off the gel that spilled out a little bit using the cuticle clippers. And I'm going to use this white drawing gel, which I love, it's my favorite drawing gel, to add some lines. And by the way, this is what Furina looks like. You do not play Genshin Impact and you're just here for pretty nails. She's my favorite character, by the way. And this bow is inspired by the one on her head. And here I cut off the very center of the bow because I'm going to place a different part there. And I'm repeating the same process on the second bow. Here I'm bringing out all the materials that I'm going to need. The caviar beads, tiny little pearls, rhinestones. Usually plan out the design on the other hand beforehand. Otherwise those videos would be way too long because I change things up a lot. So I kind of know which materials I'm going to need. I decided that I'm going to show you each design by the finger because I find it very hard to follow when people make all nails at once. I already applied 2 coats of this gorgeous glitter gel. I really like it. It has very gentle blue glitter in it. It's very subtle. And here I'm going to draw, actually had to look it up. I think it's called lattice mesh. I don't know if that's the correct term. By the way, I hate drawing on the nails. It looks really pretty, but I'm really bad at it. And this design is going to have a lot of drawing. Kinda challenged myself with this one, even though I was on a time crunch to finish it by the photo shoot that I was doing. And here I'm making little dots where the lines are connected. By the way, this mesh has nothing to do with the character. I just really like drawing it. I think it looks really dainty and pretty on the nails. And here I take the padding gel, and I'm actually going to use it as a drawing gel. It's very, very pigmented. So here I'm kind of trying to express Furina's coat opening. I'm honestly not sure what I was going for with this design. I saw some Chinese nail artists doing something like this, and I kind of tried to recreate that. Here I decided that it was a little too dark, so I used the gel from my palette and I had another coat of it, and here I decided that it was still a little too dark, so I'm mixing up a slightly lighter blue. Mixing, adding a little bit of white. And yeah, this looks more like her coat color. And here I'm going to do a little bit of a gradient, so there's a little bit more depth. And here I'm drawing the vest that's under the coat with the white gel. And I'm doing a second coat of white, so it's more opaque. And then I'm going to cover the entire nail with the matte top coat, because I'm going to add a bunch of chrome details. I'm buffing the nail a little bit because the dots I drew earlier were sticking up too much. Wiping it off so there's no dust. And prepping my nail powder. This is my favorite gold, by the way. I don't remember where I bought it. I'm going to find it once I get to it in unboxing videos. And I'm using the same white gel I used earlier. It's amazing for the mirror chrome art, but I found that you can't cure it for more than, I would say, 15 seconds, or it doesn't take chrome very well. So yeah, I flash cure it for like 10 to 15 seconds, apply chrome, and then cure it fully with the chrome on top of it. I drew some lines so it doesn't look too boring, and I'm adding some flowery, filigree, I'm not sure what to call it, on the line of white and the mesh, just to hide it up a little bit. Adding some white elements too, so it looks a little bit more lively. I'm pulling out my favorite parts gel. I love how thick it is. And I'm mixing some top coat with some of the caviar beads and also the pearls on the palette, so they are all ready for me to use. There's no any grand idea to where I'm applying the parts and rhinestones. I just kind of put them wherever it looks empty. And here I'm all done with the thumb design. I'm going to apply this builder gel around all the parts to make sure they're very secure. And then I'm applying top coat to seal everything in. Not a single rhinestone can escape me. Using a tiny brush to get really close everywhere. And then I'm going to use the matte top coat to cover the dark blue parts to give them kind of a texture. So it feels more like fabric. Here we're done with the thumb. I start the pointer fingers design with 2 coats of the glitter gel. I wipe the uncured gel with the alcohol. And I use a white gel to draw some kind of graphic. Let me try to explain to you what I was going for. Like, if you look at Furina's design, it's very structured and looks almost strict. Like there are no flowy lines. And she looks very authoritative. Is that how you pronounce it? So I tried to translate it into the nails by focusing on crisp and very defined shapes and straight lines and stuff like this. I didn't want it to be too blended, which is my go-to when doing nails usually. I want it to be very precise and contrasted. I'm doing 2 layers of white and then I pull out the same blue that I used on the thumb. And I'm going to draw another similar shape on top of the white one. By the way, this liner brush is absolutely amazing. I love it. It makes such tiny, thin lines. Not this one. The other one, the long one. I usually end up cutting out all the liner brushes to make them thinner, but that one came perfect. Look at it. That's just perfection. Then I do another layer of lighter blue and then another layer of even lighter blue. The third layer is not all over, it's kind of just in the middle and it goes darker towards the edges. Matte top coat because this one is also going to have some chrome details. I think all of the nails are going to have some chrome details on them. And here I got inspired by the back design, which has, I'm not sure if they're flowers or what they are, but here's an image of them.
Huh?
And then I'm adding some white ones on top too to match the thumb. And then I put some charms and bows and rhinestones on top so it doesn't look so bland. Because, you know, Furina may look authoritative and strict, but she's very whimsy. Then I put the builder gel around the charms and I top coat the whole nail. So awkward doing the voiceover, you have no idea. I feel like my voice changed 50 times. Like every line I sound slightly different. Okay, and here we're done with the pointer nail and we're moving on to the middle finger. I'm putting a whole layer of this dark blue padding gel as the base. And then I'm taking this reflective cat eye, which is really pretty. And I'm putting that all over the nail. And I'm going to gather the cat eye particles off to one side. So it kind of looks like a glass bead. I believe that's what this effect is called. I wipe off the uncured gel because once again we're going for the metal chrome look. It's going to be very minimal here though. I'm using a buff on this nail instead of the matte top coat. That is actually my preferred method because I feel like it works the best and it's the easiest and it doesn't add the bulk. And I'm going to do the scallop design here. Originally I was going for this, but it didn't quite work out, so I just went with it and did something because she kind of has a lot of scallops on her skirt. So I feel like it's still pretty on brand. Once again, I was really rushing it, so I didn't have a ton of time to plan it out. So I feel like I could have done slightly better if I had more time and put a little more thought into it, but I'm pretty happy with the result. Doing another line on top of it, but I'm going to keep this one white. I'm going to use a no stick gel to apply the bigger charms. And I'm going to apply 2 parts of the bow using it. And then I'm going to put a charm on top of it. As I was working on this set, I realized that this charm looks a lot like this brush on her chest. And I hate empty spaces, so I'm putting a little cross here for absolutely no reason other than to fill up the empty space. And because this brush has a little teardrop, I added a teardrop there. Then it still looked a little too bland compared to the other nails, so I decided to add some lines of caviar beads with pearls over there. And here we're done. I'm just going to coat all the empty spaces with the builder gel. This bow really needed some builder gel under it. And here I decided to add some more pearls and caviar beads because there's never enough. I love spending hours arranging those things. Sarcasm. No, I love how they look. They look absolutely gorgeous, but it literally takes hours at the time sometimes. And then I top coat everything. I honestly should have left the bow alone, since it made 80% out of top gel. It's not sticky and it doesn't need any top gel on it. But I still covered it up for some reason. And here I'm using the gradient brush to take off the excess gel from the bow, which didn't really need top gel in the first place. Okay, and moving on to the ring nail. I'm also starting it with 2 coats of the glitter gel and removing the stickiness and starting to draw a similar, I already forgot what it was called, the meshy pattern, like on the thumb. This time I'm doing it on the tip, and I'm also adding little dots of gel where the lines are connecting. And then I'm using this dark blue padding gel again to add some more of those very defined shapes. Buffing out the protruding gel from those little dots again. And then I'm covering it with lighter blue gel. And then I'm going to do the gradient with an even lighter blue gel, just like on the rest of the fingers. Blending it out with a gradient brush. If I make any mistakes, I'm using those picks with cotton on them to wipe it off. They're very convenient. And then I'm drawing a similar outline, but higher and with white gel. I'm doing 2 coats of it too. And then I'm applying matte top coat. Because surprise, surprise, more golden chrome details. I always wipe off any remaining stickiness after the matte top gel, just in case. And I'm outlining this blue part, but not with a straight line. I'm making multiple very thin lines. And just like on the thumb, I'm doing the little filigree patterns. I never learned to actually properly draw them, so I'm just following my gut feeling. And they're not perfect, but they're okay. Drawing some white ones on top. And then I'm going to do my favorite part of using pearls and caviar beads. to fill a whole line on the other side of the white. It's a super tedious process, but it's so therapeutic for me. Adding another bow. And I'm curving the star charm a little bit so it doesn't stick up too much, and I'm able to cover it so it doesn't get stuck in the hair and clothing. A rhinestone on top of it. And the rest of the charms are placed in a manner that is very similar to the way I placed them on the thumb. See what I'm talking about? It looks kind of strict, but at the same time very whimsy and cute. And we're done with the ring finger design. I'm going to cover all the charms very well with the builder gel. Especially pearls, they discolor so badly if you don't leave them covered properly. And then I'm applying top coat. I covered the bow again for no reason at all. Well, no, I guess this one there is a reason, since there's a metal charm that discolors really easily on top of it and can get stuck because it's very sharp. And then I'm putting some matte top gel on just the blue part. And we're done. Now moving on to the pinky. I'm also doing just one coat, maybe two coats, I'm not sure. It might have been two coats of the dark blue padding gel, and I'm putting the cat eye gel on top, just like on the middle finger, also collecting it off to one side. Wiping off the uncured top gel and buffing the nail. Wiping off any dust. And then I'm going to draw an outline with my favorite white drawing gel. For this nail, the inspiration was the brooch pendant. I'm not sure what to call it. She wears it on her neck. And she also has one on her back. I feel like it would translate way better if the nail wasn't stiletto shaped. Like if it was shorter almond, it would be very accurate. But my preference are long stilettos. So I kind of have to make do with it. Isn't the Chrome application so satisfying? I can't tell you how many times I had to redraw those semicircles until I got them right. And leaving a nail like this would have been way too boring, so I'm going to add 10 billion more tiny caviar beads and pearls and some rhinestones in kind of a random organic shape. Decided to fill in this gap with this dark blue gel so it just stands out a little bit more. And I'm adding a slight gradient so it matches the other nails. And it was still a little too bland, so I decided to add another line. This was the last nail that I was working on, and I honestly didn't know what to do at this point. I had to just pull something out real quick. So I'm not quite sure how recognizable it is that I tried to design them after Furina, but I did my best, and that's all that matters. They look pretty. And now, once I made sure that there's not a single empty space on the snail, as usual, I'm going to cover it up with the builder gel and then top coat it. Then I'm going to add a teeniest bit of the matte top coat on this dark blue part, and we're done. No, we're not done. Need to file off the edges of all the nails. And after I do this, then we're done.